Hello everyone, this is Matty Fresh from megapoker.net. This is the second installment of the Learn to Play Poker video series, and for this lesson we're going to be talking about trap hands. First off, I want to define trap hands. Basically they're two face cards or a face card and a 10 or similar hands like that get a lot of players in trouble, especially beginners. The main issue with these kinds of hands is that they're really overvalued. Players look at them as if they're like ace king or ace queen, but they really need to be looked at like high connectors or suited connectors. And an easy way to solve problems with them is to play them like you play 9-8 and 9-10. They shouldn't be played in early position. The strongest trap hand is king-queen suited. That's really the only hand that I would advise playing in early position. If you do want to play them in early position, I advise only limping with them and then folding to a raise. And the first example will demonstrate why. So you have queen-jack offsuit under the gun. You have a full table of players acting behind you, and we're going to show you why this kind of hand is going to get you in trouble. For this example, I'm just going to call the big blind. You see Nervous Ned in the top left decided to raise it up. Since we're trying to simulate a new player who doesn't understand how to play these kinds of hands yet, we're going to call this raise, treating queen-jack like a premium hand when it actually is a very mediocre hand. And what do you know, you flopped top pair, so you're going to bet at it. Half the pot's kind of a standard bet, and Nervous Ned moves all in over the top. It's a strange move, but you have top pair, so we're going to go ahead and call right here. It turns out he has ace-queen, and you're hopelessly dominated at this point. So you lost all your chips by overvaluing and overplaying your hand and being unable to get away from top pair. The reasons why these trap hands get players in trouble is what just happened. When you enter raised pots treating these hands like premium hands, you're most of the time up against hands that you are hoping this hand is like. For example, your queen-jack, you enter a raised pot against ace-queen or ace-jack, ace-king. And when you hit one of your pairs, you're out-kicked a lot of the time. So if you treat these like connectors, you'll be in limped pots, and facing premium hands will be a lot less likely. So for the next example, we're going to take a look at the proper way to play these hands in later position. This hand we have king-queen suited. This is the strongest of the trap hands. You see an early position raise probably indicates, a premium hand, a pocket pair, something like that. But since this is the best of the trap hands, we're going to go ahead and call this raise. What you want to look for when you play these types of hands is more or less a draw that's stronger than a pair, like a straight draw or a flush draw. In this case, you flopped an open-ended straight draw, meaning that a 9 or an ace will fill your straight. Chuck Reese bets $9. When you take a look, you're getting just about 3-to-1 odds to call. At this point, I just maybe see another card if you want, depending on your playing style. If you're a tighter player and you don't like to chase, then don't do so. But for this example, I want to try to demonstrate playing these types of hands. You call and you fill your straight on the turn. Chuck Reese checks it over to you. At this point, you could implement either a slow play, check it, and hope that Chuck bets on the river, or you could throw in a bet. We're going to check your straight right here and hope that Chuck bets. Chuck seems to be cautious of the straight. We're going to try to extract some money here. The pot's at $33, so we're going to throw in a bet of $10 as a value bet and try to get some chips out of it. He decides to check raise. So at this point, I'm throwing another raise and see if you can extract a little more out of him. He's going to call, you're going to show your straight, and collect the pot as Chuck mucks his hand. Now we're going to look at example of playing when you hit your pair and how to figure out when you're up against a hand that has you crushed. The example is going to be Queen Jack versus Ace Queen again, and we're gonna figure this out together. We're looking down at Queen Jack suited in middle position. This is a favorable area to play trap hands. I don't advise playing offsuit versions of the trap hands. Ace 10 offsuit and Ace Jack offsuit. While many players believe them to be premium or very strong hands, they're very mediocre and get players in a lot of trouble. I would simply throw them away or limp. I definitely wouldn't raise with them. Queen Jack suited is a decent holding. When early position players limp in, I typically advise players to lay down trap hands, but for the purpose of this example, we're going to call the big blind and try to see a flop. There's been 2 re-raises. Usually I would fold at this point, definitely lay it down. So let's do that and go on to the next hand. I'm going to make sure we got this again. We're in the first to act in middle position. Everyone folded to me, so this is a much more favorable situation to get in with a trap hand. Everyone checked. This appears to be a monster flop for your hand. You have flopped top pair with a straight flush draw and a flush draw. This appears to be a monster flop. You have a ton of outs. You know, any club, any 10, the 10 of clubs especially, you know, gives you a huge hand. You're going to call here with a myriad of outs. At this point, an ace has come out. There's probably an ace out there. Your hand's probably not good, but at this point, I would bet at it because you still appear to have a very strong holding. The river comes and fills your flush. You probably have the best hand at this point, so I'd bet half the pot again and try to extract what you can. Oliver Chips throws in a raise. You always have to be cautious of higher flushes with a queen or jack high flush, whether or not they hold a king in another club or an ace in another club. But at this point, I would feel pretty confident, so I'll throw in another raise and see what happens. You get 2 callers and you show your queen high flush and you collect the pot, which this was a very good play of a trap hand. Now we're going to look at a very common situation, playing ace 10 under the gun. Ace 10 under the gun is a very difficult situation to deal with. A lot of people look at this, again, like a big slick or an ace queen, but it's just not that strong. If you do decide to play it under the gun, definitely just call. Once in a while you could raise with a suited ace 10, but you're just out of position. For this example, we're going to call to demonstrate why not to play ace 10 under the gun. You flop your ace. It's a raised pot. If you recall, Nervous Ned raised it up. You could be against an ace jack suited, an ace queen, ace king. You decide to play it aggressively and bet half the pot and see where you're at. Nervous Ned decides to raise. At this point, I'd probably just call, or if you have a good read or feel for your opponents, I'd definitely just lay it down, because despite 10 being, you know, the highest non-face card, it's really not that great of a kicker. We're going to check it to Ned again. He's going to bet $2. You're still feeling pretty comfortable. You call again, and playing like a beginner like this, you're probably just going to check call down and hope your ace 10's good. So you call and find out that you're up against ace jack suited as predicted earlier, and you lose chips because you treated a mediocre hand like a premium hand. So basically the premise of this strategy is to treat these hands like suited connectors or connectors and play them accordingly. The best way to do it is to let them go in early position, let go the lower half of those hands in middle position. You can play them if you want in late, but the only hands in this area that I would consider raising hands are king queen suited and ace jack suited. The rest of them are basically calling hands. Just keep that in mind as you play with them, and you should see better luck when playing these types of hands. That about concludes this Learn to Play Poker video series lesson. I hope you have better luck at the tables with these types of hands. I'll see you for the next lesson. For more information, while you're waiting for the next videos to come out, visit www.mega-poker.net. Thank you.